thank you very much. We got time for questions and answers. I definitely have answers. I'm also going to pick up my buttons. You see, I had this double-sided tape, so I only lost one. But, all right, questions. Who's got stuff they want to talk about?
Here.
Yes, ma'am.
The money.
Money.
So you're charging money for your services.
Mm-hmm.
Does the IRS keep track of that?
I file my taxes. Mm-hmm.
They have a category for psychics?
Yes, well, generally it's filed under other, but there is a section devoted to people who are non-traditional, like life coaches and stuff like that, motivational speakers. You kind of have to file it under that. But yeah, you're considered to be self-employed, and you should be keeping track and also deducting your expenses and keeping track of your expenses and what you make. So yeah, I paid mine. Anyone else? Yes?
Have you found that I've officiated 28 weddings?
Mm-hmm.
Have you found that I have always, up until this past few months, always done it for local?
Okay.
I've been paid everything from $0 to $200.
Mm-hmm.
And usually the ones that give me 0 are the ones who want the most.
Mm-hmm.
They're the most demanding.
Mm-hmm.
They're the most, you know, and it's just, so now I just say, my minimum fee is $50.
Mm-hmm.
Now some people still give me $100.
Mm-hmm.
But I let them know, I'm not driving 2 hours to officiate a service.
Oh, seriously. Mm-hmm.
Meet with you twice, and then have you tell me what was really nice, but you really would prefer that we had the discussion before we did this, so we can include next week what you didn't want.
And once again, that sort of brings in the whole, you've got a contract if you actually exchange money.
And on the reading side, you'll find those are the people who call you every other day. Should I go to the bathroom now?
Oh,
Should I wait for
yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, John, I'm so glad I caught you. French or Thousand Island?
They
Seriously?
think we're kidding. They think we're kidding.
Uh-huh. And
That's when you say Greek.
like, I'm sorry, I'm really getting a strong vinaigrette vibe, or maybe perhaps we should book a session and talk about this. I've got an hour free. My regular rates do apply.
Or you can be like, you don't eat it plain. That's so much healthier.
I mean, there's really no, yeah, there's always going to be that, but especially if you're very upfront in saying what you're charging and what your time is worth, and claiming, you know, my time is worth something. And just because I'm not working in an office, my time is worth something. I am self-employed. This is my business. And I didn't just jump into this 5 minutes ago. I've spent a lot of time and money working in the exploration and educational side of it. So, you know what, I should just give it away.
But by the same token, if someone calls and they're really in dire straits,
Oh, yeah.
and they need help right now, and they can't get us, we do know.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. Yes, ma'am.
Back on the services again. So you've never had any police come at your door and, you know,
No.
try and raid you or anything like that?
Hmm.
I don't know if you recall, there was a case several years ago in Pennsylvania, and I think the lady was over in Philadelphia, and she got raided.
Okay.
And I can't remember what happened to that case. I know I did copy the article, but you know, it was like for safekeeping, as I couldn't handle all that information at the time, but knew I would want to look that up. And and then from what I remember about the case was that they ended up looking up the state laws. This is in Pennsylvania, and there was some law on the books that claimed that she was in violation because this was.
New England can still burn you with the stake.
Yeah, it was like a violation here, and I don't know what happened with that lady. I know she was running.
In half of New England, it's still in the books.
It's still in the books in New England?
Yeah, in some places.
So how do you get away with it in state law? You don't want
Well,
the
you always
police-
have to be looking at your state laws. There are some states where you have to say very upfront that for entertainment purposes only. Not all of them are like that. Some you do have to put out for entertainment purposes only. Also, for a lot of states, there is a sort of loophole that if you are an ordained minister, you can counsel, because what they can really nail you for is counseling without a license.
Yeah.
since there's so many more life coaches and stuff like people like that around, there's a whole lot of counseling without a license. So there would have to be, generally there would have to be numerous complaints against you. I don't currently have a sign on my house because I don't want people driving by. And that's always a personal choice.
So that's where you have people come is to your house then?
Sometimes I do a lot of phone readings, which, I mean, strictly speaking, probably takes you into federal law if you're going over state lines. But it is very important to be aware of your local laws and guidelines. I'm certainly not going to say to avoid that. Yes, Don.
One of the things in Sandusky, where I am, there was a few years ago a lady that was arrested. But when you actually looked at what she was doing, she was the type of reader that said, you know what, John, I think you're asking me about your parents and there's curses on them, so if you pay me an additional $3,000, I'll be able to help you lift that curse. So it's, sometimes what seems like you're not bothering anybody else, well, there's a reason why they're bothering her.
Yeah, and it's always important to look. I don't know the framework of that case. It would certainly be very interesting to look up, and if I ever actually happen to have access to Westlaw again, I would do something like that. But
what would you search under? What would your
under
keywords
Westlaw, you'd probably look for. I'd start start by the state, start by the year. If you know that, the more information you've got for location and time, the more you can narrow it down. Beyond that, you probably want to try to at least get some vague. For that, you probably want to start with a search of the news archives, and then do a LexisNexis or Westlaw search.
Okay, but what kind of keyword search would you use?
I called the public library in that city and asked if anybody, if they could research it and help me. I'm trying to find this.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I would go right to the legal law library and do it myself. I would just
Well,
go
you at least need to narrow it down a bit, because the law library can just bury you.
Yeah, but that's where you're going to get your free
Yeah.
access.
Oh, you could even just Google it.
Yeah, I'd probably also, you'd probably want to look for words like charlatan, psychic, witch, scandal. Go for the pejorative terms.
Rating, things like that.
Because you can go to your
Gypsy or something along
you
those
can
lines.
go to your law library and get free Lexis.
Okay. So yeah, I'd start from there and then work your way out. But every court case is going to be different, and what they would actually nail someone for is always going to be different. Like I said, you should always know your basic laws of, do you need to say for entertainment purposes only? Do you need to be ordained? Do you need to file paperwork with your state and local? Generally, once you started getting involved with things like taxes and tax returns, you're not liable to get rated because you become boring. There's not a lot of good front page newspaper for psychic nabbed, paperwork filed, released.
If you do become a minister, make sure you file those papers with the Secretary of State. Because if you don't file them, I don't care how many certificates you have, you are not legit.
Okay. Good to know.
And
All right.
it's not expensive.
No.
So,
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Have you been at the ARE Institute and had the sender receiver test?
Which one? The one in the lobby?
I don't think it's in the lobby, no, but it's in the...
I mean, the old-fashioned one?
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you
that'd be
mean?
so easy to fake.
Where you take the test with another person?
They've got an electronic one like that in the lobby.
No.
Okay. Are you talking about the cards?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No, I've never done the cards. I did a test for, they had an electronic one years ago that worked with a random number generator on a computer to work with. And there was a whole big printout and stuff that they did with that. I've done some stuff like that.
You say you have?
Yeah.
Are you a sender or a receiver? Or receiver?
You mean with those? I haven't done the card thing. I've done other kinds of tests. I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
I think it's both.
Yeah, I was going to say it would be both, because
Yeah.
you're a medium, you're receiving and
I
you're
suppose.
sending.
Yeah, you're taking
people
it
call,
down.
why am I thinking about you, what's going on, why do you need to talk to me, whatever, so, you know, I would say for both.
Because you won't
Anyway,
and
would you say it's worthwhile to get a DVD of the Edgar Casey program for your life?
There's a lot of good information in the Casey readings. I think probably the best thing you can do with Casey is to get a copy of the readings on DVD, on CD-ROM, or if you join the ARA, and I'm not plugging them or anything. I mean, I like them, but I'm not plugging them. I don't get a kickback.
it's
Is
okay,
if
it's
you,
okay, really.
if you join, I'm trying to be ethical and upfront here. I'm not getting reimbursed for a plug. But if you join up, you also get access to the readings database online. There's a little bit of film of Casey. There's not a whole lot. I mean, we're talking, he died in like the 30s, I believe. 45. But
Second World War.
yeah, there is a lot of information out there. I think the readings are the best source. There's a lot of books that have been written on the readings, but in general, especially if you've got the database search, you can be like, I wonder if Casey ever talked about. Yeah, then you just search the database.
What was that, ARA?
ARE, Association for Research and Enlightenment. They got a booth downstairs. 2 down from.
Is it ARE.com?
And which
it's-
row?
It's edgarcasey.org.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you want to know about him, read a book called There Is a River.
Mm-hmm.
Paperback, cheap, good, interesting.
Or the new one, which just came out a year or so ago, that was co-written by Jeanette Thomas, who I used to work with. That was a plug.
Yeah.
All right, other questions?